Hello, this is Jonathan at the Piano Lesson again. Welcome back. Happy New Year, everyone. And I thought we'd hit the ground running, as they say, for the new year and maybe take a little survey of all the things that we really should know as musicians to be successful at our craft, and just kind of cover a bunch of things that you're only as good as your knowledge of the keyboard and of kind of basic scales and chords, and that's what kind of music's made of. It's just hard to get around it. And also, I thought if I have some time, I might share my just newest discovery, musical discovery that I picked up last year, but I thought I would just kind of review it again. But what are the things that we really need to know, absolutely positively, to be musicians? Well, the first thing is we have to know some scales. Why do we need scales? Well, because if you're going to write a song, you need notes. And what notes would you use to write a song or play a song? Well, the notes of a scale. That's typically what it is. And usually they're major scales, or they could be minor scales. And if you're playing on a particular instrument, like the piano, then there are unique requirements to that instrument, physical requirements. So you need to have an idea of what fingers you're going to use to play those scales. And while there are kind of stock fingerings that we typically gravitate towards and learn in scale books, those are not the only ones to use, and they're also not necessarily the best ones to use all the time. That's one of the advantages and disadvantages of having great educational material. So we have all these great books and YouTube videos and things to avail ourselves of, but on the other hand, if we're just learning things mechanically or doing what everyone else is doing, then we're really not thinking about what we're doing. And there are two reasons why you would choose various fingerings. One would be musical reasons, and the other would be practical reasons. So sometimes certain fingerings feel better to play, but they don't always sound better. And other times we choose fingerings because even though they might be the most convenient and they feel the best, they don't always sound the best. So that's something to consider. We need to know chords, of course. What are chords? Well, chords are derived from scales, and it's really just semantics. The chords are derived from the scales, and the scales are a kind of a result of the chords. It's just really semantics. And then you need to know how. More importantly is you need to understand chords in terms of a scale. So what that means is you need to be able to not just know the difference between different types of chords, but understand how those chords fit into a scale like puzzle pieces. And those are what we refer to as diatonic scales. So that's another thing. And various inversions, chord inversions, and of course, once again, what fingerings would you use? And on the piano, because we can play more than one note, what would constitute a chord? Well, typically we think of groups of playing 3 notes at a time, but it doesn't have to be. It could be 4 notes or even 5 and so on. And then we're talking about various types of voicing. So why would you choose a certain voicing? Well, again, practical and musical reasons. Sometimes stylistically, you would choose one voicing over another. Sometimes you would choose a voicing simply because it lends itself to the register that we're playing in. So sometimes a chord voicing might sound just fine in one register, meaning higher up, as opposed to, say, lower down on the keyboard. Then you would choose a different kind of voicing. And there are typically two, when I'm talking about jazz voicings, although not necessarily, but I'm talking about voicings that one would use to, say, fill out an arrangement playing solo, which I I refer to as shell voicings, and then other voicings, rootless voicings, which one might tend to use more often if you're not playing solo, if you're playing with a band or a group. And then how to integrate the scales and chords together. So I'm just going to do, just hold on to your hats, okay? And if you have to grab a sandwich, but I'm going to just throw a lot of stuff at you as a review, as a New Year's review, and we'll go from here. So I'm going to put on our bird's eye cam, and here we go. So, okay, so major scales. I like to categorize scales in terms of white key scales versus black key scales. So, white key scales, right hand C, G, D, A, E, B, not F sharp because that's a black key, okay? And if you notice, I'm going up by fifths. That's F sharp, and then C sharp, black keys. So the one that we didn't get to was F. Now, of those, how many? There are 7 letters in the musical alphabet. Okay, so there are going to be 7 white key scales. I happen to start with C because everyone starts with C. You don't have to. You can start with A, but that's what I'm doing. So the only one that doesn't fit that pattern for the right hand, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and either ending with 5 or putting the thumb under, the only one that doesn't fit that scenario is the F. And typically, this is just typically, you would go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the thumb would cross under the hand, all right? And you continue, or you would just end with 4. So most of these are 3 plus 4, 3 plus 4, and then you end with 5. 3 plus 4, and then you end with 5. 3 plus 4, and then you end with 5. 3 plus 4, and then you end with 5. 3 plus 4, and then you end with 5, right? So that makes the most sense, right? 3, this is the easiest, plus 4, those are really the easiest groups, then you end with 5, okay? This is not, this is 4 plus 3, 4 plus 3, and, whether you have 3 plus 4, or 4 plus 3, they both equal, 7, okay? They both, so that's kind of how you remember. But usually, since the thumb is shorter and it's lower on the hand, typically it would be a little more awkward to put the thumb on the B flat. It's not impossible. You can do it. It's not that big a deal, but usually we don't do that. If you have really long thumbs like Rachmaninoff, then go for it. Left hand, okay, kind of mirror image of the right hand, right? So C, G, D, A, E, B. Now there's where you end with 4. That's the exception, okay? And F is not an exception. So, again, mirror image, this is called contrary motion. Much better way to practice scales than parallel motion. Why is that? Because your fingers come together, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3, you use the same fingers in both hands. Why is it harder? Well, because it sounds dissonant, right? Increasingly dissonant. That's much more dissonant. That's pretty dissonant, right? But it's also not practical to play contrary motion beyond a few keys. You could do it with G. You could do it with D. You could do it with A. You could do it with E. And beyond that, it's just impractical to practice contrary motion. If you want to do it, go for it. But that's kind of it, okay? And there are a million great ways to practice scales for phrasing and for technique, for all kinds of things, which I've gone over during the year, but I can go over again. So it's not just what to play, but how to play. That's the whole nother subject of a discussion. And okay, so that's our white key scales. Our black key scales these are our corresponding fingers for those scales, right? 2, 3, 2, 3. What are we doing here? Yeah, 2, 3, 4. All right, so these are corresponding fingers. Thumb starts under the hand. First chance you get to play a white key, boom. You gotta play that white key, G natural. White key, white key, white key, white key, white key, white key. Right, first chance you get going up. So that's right hand. All right. I did not do that in fifths, because I did it just to emphasize the fingering, but that would be a better way to do it, really. So 1 flat, B flat, 2 flats, B flat, 3 E flat, 4 A flat, 5 D flat, 6. I'm going up by fourths, just so you know. So going up by fourths. You can go down by fifths too. B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat. C flat is a flat key, but we start on a white key. So, remember 3 of those keys are enharmonic spellings. Those are the scales with all the black keys. All right. So B uses all the black keys, but you could call it C flat. G flat uses all the black keys, but you could call it F sharp. All right. D flat uses all the black keys, but you could call it C sharp. And those are really the easiest scales. The only difference between those 3 is that they have white keys that are different, right? So that's really what you got to learn. And the B, well, if you can't remember the first note, then I'm sorry, you do something else. But so the only other white key you have to remember is E, perfect fourth, right? G flat, the 2 white keys you have to remember are this, and you should spell them correctly. G flat, A flat, B flat, C flat, going in alphabetical order. D flat, E flat, F natural. If you start with F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B natural, C sharp, D sharp, E sharp, right? So alphabetical order, right? Or D flat. These are the 2 white keys you have to remember. That's a perfect fifth. D flat, E flat, F natural, G flat, A flat, B flat, C natural, right? That's the correct spelling. Or C sharp, D sharp, E sharp, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B sharp. That's the correct spelling. Alphabetical order. D flat is 5 flats or 7 sharps. F sharp is 6 sharps or 5 flats. G flat. B major is 5 sharps or 7 flats. Okay, so B has 5 accidental, 5 sharps or 7 flats, and if you go D flat has 5 flats, just the opposite, or 7 sharps. Okay, and the C's, that's the way you remember it. The C's have all the sharps and all the flats. 7 sharps or 7 flats. And as a key signature, you'll never encounter C flat unless you play the harp or your conductor. So those are things you have to know. Left hand fingering, that's the one that we discussed, ends in fourth. Black keys, all right. You're always going to start with the 3rd finger, with one exception. So 3 crossing with 4. Again, remember 3 plus 4, right? 3 plus 4, okay? 3 plus 4, 3 plus 4, right? 3 plus 4. That's what you're looking for with black key fingering, okay? Pretty easy, except for this group. You start with 4. 4 plus 3. Excuse me, 4 plus 3. And you always end with the finger you start with, right? It's a good way to practice the scale, just to remember your starting finger, but you always start and end with the same finger. Now, yes, of course, I could end with 2. Of course I can, but just to get in good habits, you want to be able to, throw your hands on the keyboard in the heat of battle and know that, oh yeah, that's 4, that's 3, or that's 3, or that's 3. Not all the time, of course. It doesn't work that way, in real life, but, that's a good starting point. And doing both hands, parallel motion, as I said, you're not really going to be able to do these in contrary motion. You can, it's not that. The only thing is, again, the advantage of contrary motion originally was that you're going to use the same fingers, right? So there's no advantage in terms of fingering. But yes, there is a musical importance too. So you can do that. You can do them in contrary motion. Anyway, you're not going to start on the same note. You're going to have to start an octave apart, for sure. Okay? So you got to know that. The next thing you got to know, so those are your, right? Those are your major, right? Those are your major scales. And then the next thing you want to know is okay, what would happen if I skip notes in the scale, right? If you skip notes in the scale in C, if you skip notes, you get chords. So skipping notes, major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, major. So as you're going up the scale, right, starting on the first note and the second and the third and the fourth and the fifth and the sixth and the seventh, and the seventh, 1, 4, 5, those are your major. This pen is kind of running out. I wonder where my other pen is. I have one. I know I have one. Oh, yeah, they are. Hey, I got an idea. Let's open a new pen for the new year. What do you say? And then I'm just gonna chuck this pen. I don't want to use a Sharpie because that is not going to come off. Because that's what you call infallible ink. Okay, so I just opened a brand new package and I'm going to chuck this one away. I'm going to throw it away. Throw it away. Hooray. Throw it away. Okay. 1. Oh, look at that. Woo. That's dark. 5, 6, 7. Well, I'm using lowercase numbers, right, to connote the minors, right? These guys are, those are the minor chords. These are the major triads. They're major, right? Those are minor, and then this last one here, right? That's diminished, and you got to understand the difference between the two. So major, minor, diminished. That's all well and good, but again, just knowing that in isolation, right? That's not going to help you in music. You got to be able to throw your hand down in a key and know you are. That's C, right? But what about B flat? Right? Or F, right? Or E flat, minor. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, major. Or A flat. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, major. Or D flat. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, right? Or G flat, major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, major, right? You got to be able to do all those, without thinking about it, all right? And did I leave one out? G major. I don't know if I did G major and D. D, sorry. And A. I mean, if I can't do it, I can't tell you guys to do it, right? I have to be I have to be able to do it too. All right. Did I do B already? Right. You have to be able to do all that up and down the scale. And you can do, that's a block chord, broken chords. Right? And then you gotta be able to take each chord and make inversions of each one. I mean, it's a lot of work, but you know, if you're not gonna do it, then just do something else. There's a million things to do in the world if you don't want to do this. What did I do here? See, even I have to practice a little bit. I'm a little out of practice. Even I. You know, one of the things you got to make sure you remember is remember what key you're in. I literally forgot what key I literally forgot what key I was playing, and that's one of the things students forget. And it never happens to me. I'm just talking and playing at the same time. So major, minor, major, minor, sorry, major. I'm doing it in B major, major, minor, and then diminished. Yep. And major, all right? And then you do that broken. Now, fingering for basic triads in the right hand, 1, 3, 5, but then second inversion is 2, all right? You could do 3, but 2 is easier, and then 3. So second inversion, first inversion, second finger. All right, and always. So that's the easy part about it, second finger, okay? And when you're doing the arpeggio, I know I'm rushing through these, but there's a lot of ground to cover today, okay? And likewise in the left hand, major, right? 5, 3, 1. Second inversion, you could use 2. I mean, 3 is possible, but that's kind of a big stretch there. So 2 is easier. 2. But they're all the same. 2. 2. All right, and broken chords. Right, and then both hands, right? Now, again, there's variations on a theme that you can do on these, but this is just like really rudimentary stuff that you kind of got to know. But everything we're talking about here, those are the diatonic triads, okay? And so just knowing the difference between major, minor, and diminished is not enough. And then once you learn that, you have to add one other note and add a 7th chord. And all of those going up. So beyond the triads, then you have to do the 7th chords. And this would be major 7, minor 7, minor 7, major 7, dominant 7, minor 7, and then minor 7, flat 5, which is also called half diminished. So major 7, right? Dominant 7, flatted 7, minor 7, flatted 3rd, flatted 7th, minor 7, flat 5, right? Half diminished. Those are the different chord types, but again, all of those chords don't exist in, the key of C. This one does. Minor 7, major 7, dominant 7, minor 7, flat 5, and Now you have 4 notes. You have to be able to take each chord and make inversions. Now I'm doing it faster. You know, when you do it at home, you know, take your time to rest in the keys. Take your time to rest in the keys. Feel the bottom of the keys. All right? And again, for fingering, 4th finger. So 1, 2, 3, 5 typically, all right? 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, 2, 4, 5. You have that second there, all right? But the rest is 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 5, all right? All the same fingering, 1, 2, 3, 5, except for here. Left hand, you could do this. You could use 4, all right? I prefer 3, 5, 3, 2, 1, 5, 3, 2, 1, 5, 3, 2, 1, 5, 4, 2, 1. So just one instance when you're using that 4th finger where you have that second there. Okay, and then again, you're going to want to use both hands, right? And again, so many different ways to practice these. It's ridiculous, but you know, that much you must know. And again, you got to be able to pick any key. Pick a key. Pick a key, F major. Okay, B flat major. Right, E flat major, 3 flats, and you go circle of fifths. Right, and back down. I'm just trying to save time. I'm not going up and down, but you always go up and down. 4 flats, right? Right. You need to have patience to go through these, okay? And not just inversions, and you have to be able to do arpeggios, 4 octaves, and notice I get the thumb under, and then I don't know, you can end with the do a Chico Marx, and then right, all different ways to practice that. Now notice I am using my thumb on a black key. Remember I said earlier not using thumbs on black keys? Well, in this instance, it's perfectly fine. Now, but that's for a 7th chord. If I was doing triads, I would not start with the thumb. Okay, I would use a different set of fingers. So what would I use? Well, I would start with my thumb. 1, 2, 3. If I was starting on a black key, I would not start with my thumb. I would probably go 4, or like 4, or 4, or 4, or I would probably do that. You know, here I would do a white. Here I would use my thumb because they're all on the same level. Now look at that. We just ran out of time. Ton of stuff to do. So I will fill in the gaps next time. Until then, have a great week and send me I'll drop me a line. And thank you all you guys for sending me little emails and I appreciate the encouragement and back at you. Okay. See you later.